It took me 6 years to write this book. 6 years of trials and errors and wanting to finish process in the middle and start the publishing and go nowhere forward with these intents and needing to set back and rethink and look again into the contents and the structure of the book and just think of why I cannot bring it forward as it is, Maybe there is another reason, maybe it's not ready. And after 6 years, while I was writing the end part of the epilogue, it just dawned on me that I'm already writing or focusing on another book. And, well, it has to mean that this book is already finished because I cannot focus on the new book while still figuring out the details and context of this book. And that was my cue to start the publishing, although the editing wasn't done. And what can I say? You can't argue with the spirit's calling, as the first chapter is called. And so I moved on with it, and the inspiration just keeps on flowing. I'm very resilient in my mindset on just keeping the inner guidance concerning this bringing into the world process of this book alive. And to my surprise, it feels alive and it is flowing forward, and I do get new and new impulses and impressions of what has to be done next. And these are my signs that it is right timing, and this newborn baby is no more in the womb of its mother, but it's already born. And that was the dream that I've got after the publishing of this book, or maybe after the day that I just decided to do self-publishing. But anyhow, it was my dream world confirmation of what process actually took place before and what is being done now. And as I describe later in this book, some creations or visions that are born inside, they do indeed have their own lives, and I get to be a participant or like a birth giver or a co-creator, but it doesn't feel like I'm fully in control of this process and of the creation itself. And more time passes by and more energy is invested, more of its own creature it becomes. And at some point it just detaches and gets its own life, its own identity. And well, I'm so grateful that I can still be part of the life of this creature and feel the fulfillment that it brings to me and be involved in the processes and continuous growth and co-creation. And so it's messy and it's beautiful, and you are very welcome to be the judge of your own, of how much messiness and beauty is acceptable. But I can assure you that both of those qualities are entailed in this book. And well, the editing, as I mentioned, is not done, and for sure there are quite some mistakes. English is not my mother tongue, and I haven't studied linguistics either, so I'm just doing the best I can to let this flow coming through me take its form in an English language. And I do hope that it will get polished someday to fulfill the standards of the English literature. But for now, it's very much reflecting its owner and or birth giver, if it sounds nicer. And so please forgive me for the mistakes, and I do hope that you will be able to focus more on the contents than on the eye-poking style incongruences. And I do intend to get those in order, but some of those I indeed cannot do on my own. And yeah, all in its right time, and the time for bringing it out into this world was right without the editing being perfect. And yeah, that's how it is then. So my take on this book is that it starts in a very sketchy manner in the first chapter, and in the second chapter it's very muddly. I'd say it's very hard to pinpoint kind of situation, and in the third chapter it's where it all starts to make more sense in my mind, because the dots are connecting. There are repetitive scenes and topics that with each iteration get a clearer and bigger picture. And so please be patient with the beginning. As the preface says, it's more of a picture than a linear story. So I think reading it second time or listening to it second time, it would be much easier to get the picture right from the beginning, because there are simply details and story endings revealed that just bring meaning to the beginnings. And to be honest, I don't know how I would react if I would read such a book for the first time, but I circled around it very, very many times, and my aim was to create that constellation that is just perceivable as a whole, total new dimension when looked from above, but when looked into detail, maybe not quite obvious how it is connecting. So I hope you enjoy this ride with me and be patient with my insecurities and my big obligations towards myself to complete the story. And maybe you even take a second round and spin it once again through your mind to have this new and deeper look into how the story begins. And I must say that some things I wrote, and when I read it, it just makes me wonder, because they resonate with some endings, but by the time I wrote them, there were no endings yet. And so it astonishes me indeed. I explore mainly the topics related to my mother's line of the family, or the topics that I inherited, and the whole femininity aspect. I left the father side or the masculine aspect aside for this kind of spin, and maybe it will be the guideline of the next book, of the next story, as it is more related to the outerly accomplishments and the career path and stuff like that. And this book is more of a ground laying, building bottom up strategies of my own psyche, and I hope also men will be able to resonate with the topics of femininity. I'm sure it's very general topic and we all mirror each other very well, no matter the polarity. So, and if you do have any questions, please feel free to reach out through my website www.rao-noma.com. I'd be more than happy to interact with you.